I was invited to a wedding, but I have to pay for our supper and babysit for free. Now they are getting a ton of hate because of their entitlement. I was so happy to see a wedding invitation in my mailbox. I pulled it out and a little note fell out on an index card, but I looked at the invitation first. It was truly beautiful and I immediately stuck it to my fridge like the work of art it was. It was addressed to my husband and me and I was beyond stoked. I love weddings. I tend to get teary-eyed and smile until my face hurts at the joy of new beginnings and all the love. I was even a wedding singer. That's how much I love them. I picked up the note card and read that, and while my husband was invited, I'd be in another room helping to babysit all the children there with several other female invitees. There's a special room for children at the church and that's where I'd be. For everything. I'd still need to dress for a wedding in case I wind up in any photos, but I'd be taking my reception meal with the children and I'd be with all the kids for the ceremony. Then there was a link for their gift registry. Oh, and the meals for my husband and myself would be $100 each, and we have a link to pay it when we digitally RSVP. The first problem here is that I am disabled at 50 years old. Legally, I use oxygen. I use a walker when I need to walk long distances. I sometimes have to give up the walker entirely and use a wheelchair. I'm not proud of it, but there it is. I could happily sit in a room and look at kids, but I'd be pretty useless to prevent a fall or stop a child from choking or anything else that would require me to move quickly. Second, my husband isn't the one who has been friends with these people since childhood. I am. Why would he be invited to watch the ceremony and be part of the reception but not me? My husband said he'd happily watch the kids and let me attend the wedding and reception, but the invitation specified that only other female invitees would be watching the kids, so I doubt they'd let him. Is this a normal thing at weddings now? Do you pick guests to babysit other guests' children? Should I call them up and explain my health situation even though they already know it and visit me during my multiple hospitalizations a year? I hate having to pull the health card, but honestly, what were they thinking? I confess that I feel offended and hurt that I'm nothing more than a babysitter to them who is expected to pay for my supper and babysit for free. Would I be wrong to simply tell them we won't be able to attend and to find another sitter? And if we don't go, do we still send a gift? Updating to address some questions. I know these folks because my mom, R.I.P., Mom, and the bride's grandma were besties. So, I grew up with the bride's mom as an almost sister to me. We went to school together, graduated together, worked at the same place twice, and have been super close since. The bride is like a goddaughter. At least I thought she was. I'm gobsmacked here. The church where they are getting married is a Southern Baptist church. They aren't members. None of us are overly religious. They just liked the venue and booked it. I've never been inside, but it's lovely on the outside, and apparently, it has a childcare room that is big enough for a bunch of women and kids to hole up comfortably for a wedding and reception. We're all American. The groom's family is related to my family via marriage, and the bride and groom met at my house at a cookout a few years ago. I've always been way closer to the bride's family, though. I knew that there had been a proposal. I got FaceTimed about 10 minutes after it happened, and my husband and I cried and laughed and wished them well and oohed and awed over their story in the ring. I was expecting an invitation, sure, but not like this. The last time I had lunch with the bride's mom, she told me they're inviting around 200 people, so it'll be a large wedding with, I'm assuming, a ton of children. No, I don't hate kids. I love kids. I would have loved to have kids of my own, but my body just wouldn't do it. It took 2 miscarriages and a stillbirth to finally make me accept that it wouldn't happen for us. We are in the process of adult adopting 2 young adults that we brought into our home when we found out they were kicked out and homeless at 18. They've lived with us for years and we're making it legal. They call us mom and pop and we're a family. I'm still considering my options. I've started and deleted multiple emails to the bride's mom. I'm a raw nerve right now and my tone isn't the kindest. I want to keep it all in writing so there can be no he said/she said. I plan to ask if they incorrectly sent me the note about babysitting, since they know I physically cannot do that. But every inception of the email led with Donna. So, I need to think about it some more. Update. I spoke to my friend, the mother of the bride, and I'm pretty upset. I've been bawling for most of the day. She called and said that they were getting a lot of backlash from the wedding guests. No one wants to pay $100 for dinner and only 3 of the women asked were okay with babysitting. I told her I understood that the guests were upset because it's just tacky to 1, be asked to pay, and 2, be told you are invited but only to babysit. I told her I would not be a babysitter, at all. No, just no. She got mad and brought up how we were lifelong friends. She said I'd be helping them more by babysitting than I'd be helping by simply sitting in a pew watching. I reminded her that I couldn't physically help it all due to, being legally disabled. She said they completely understood that and expected me to simply supervise the other sitters since they trusted me most. Again, I told her that I felt it was insulting to be voluntold. Thanks, Reddit, for that word, that I'd be babysitting and that I had no desire to do that, especially not dressed in formal wear. Then we got to the truth. She said that she didn't know if I'd be in a wheelchair that day or require a walker. That's fair. I don't always know which one I'll need. She said that they wanted everyone in pews for the wedding video and me sitting in a wheelchair would make me stick out and ruin video/photos. I said, if I need a wheelchair that day then I can move to a pew and my husband can put the wheelchair in another room or back in our car. I may not even need it that day. Then she says, well, space is limited in the pews. You would take up the space of 2 people with your purse and oxygen tank. I said, no, I would not. I wouldn't bring a purse in, and the oxygen tank either sits on my lap or between my feet. It's like a little backpack. Then she said, well, having you and oxygen in the photos would be distracting from the other people. And there you have it. Words were exchanged and she hung up on me. I haven't been removed from any social media yet, but I fully expect to be. I already feel awful for being this way at only 50 years old. I didn't choose this. I didn't want this. If she thinks it's awful to having it photographed, just imagine living with it, which is what I told her before she hung up on me. I'm devastated. Just devastated. Update 2. I'm not in the greatest headspace. I don't think I've ever been less okay. Honestly, I did not register to RSVP or communicate with them further, until another invitee got in touch with me and said that the mother of the bride, a person I thought of as basically my sister, was badmouthing me into the ground. I explained my side and our mutual friend was livid. They told the mother of the bride and the bride that they were wrong to want to exclude me because I might or might not need a wheelchair and would have oxygen on my face. I could remove the oxygen for photos, they told her. So, the mother of the bride sent me a message saying, and I quote, "Well, if you're going to be butthurt about the aesthetic we want to achieve and try to turn other guests against us, then you can effing come and sit in a pew, but not in photos, and we'll try to get the videographer to do edits to the wedding vid, too. But I won't forget how you made this difficult for us." I replied, "How did I make it difficult other than existing?" She replied, "You clearly told about what I told you regarding your wheelchair and oxygen, and she's telling everyone else. We're getting a ton of hate," I said. She asked me if I was attending and I told her no and explained why. I didn't lie to her. I told her exactly what you said. You didn't tell me not to tell anyone your reasons. If they're valid reasons to you, then you shouldn't care who knows. So, I'm now blocked by the bride, the mom, the dad, and the groom. A friendship I've had my entire life is over. A goddaughter that I helped nurture and care for is just gone now. We paid for the bride's car insurance, gas, and cell phone all through high school and college because we wanted her focused on just her studies and not a part-time job. Her parents got her a car but insisted she work, but her grades fell when she did and we helped her. And this is how they thank us. This is how they repay our kindness. I guess I'm a great friend when I'm giving money, but I'm not good enough to be seen. I felt like a burden my whole life and this has set me back so far. I'm just not okay. Update 3. A few mutual friends reached out and asked if it was me and I admitted that it was. They were told something completely different about the situation. The bride's mother told them that I refused to come because of my health difficulties and that I was afraid I would ruin the wedding and declined the RSVP. She even claimed that she had been begging me to attend ever since the engagement happened, which was a bold-faced lie. I am the one who organized and paid for the after-engagement party so they could announce the happy news to everyone, and I was clear to everyone that I couldn't wait to attend the wedding. So, I sent screenshots, photos of the invitation, and the note card telling me I'd be babysitting, and then the showdown where I was told I could sit in the pew and just be edited out of the video and would not be in any photos. I also posted it on Facebook and shared receipts there, too. Well, World War III has officially commenced. Granted, I'm getting this all third and fourth hand, but here's the latest. Word has spread fast. Links to the news article have made it all over the place, and I've been told that the few ladies who had agreed to babysit have backed out and asked if there was something wrong with them that would make them not fit to sit in the pews or be in photos. And I think that's probably the case since 2 of them have unnatural hair coloring and the other has facial piercings. The church that was booked as the venue has been notified, and I'm hearing it's probably not going to happen there because the pastor's daughter is wheelchair bound after a car accident. He was going to officiate, but now he says he's conflicted about it and the message it would send. My ex-friend and the bride have blown up my husband's phone because I blocked them after this went public. They blocked me first on all of the social media spots, and he let it go on for a few days to see what they had to say. He has blocked them, but the bulk of it is that I'm jealous that I was never blessed with any children of my own, so that's why I'm ruining this for them. I'm hateful and vile and vindictive because I hate them for their clear health. I mentioned that the groom is related to me by marriage, right? That whole branch of the family tree has now divided itself with some on my side and some on the bride's side. The groom hasn't contacted us at all, but his mother did and told me that I was wrong for sharing personal business and that I need to let the bride have her wedding how she wants it. I don't agree that I did anything wrong here. I can't help that I'm sick. They've made me feel like utter trash that should just be tossed into the landfill. I hurt. I literally ache because of this. So, hi Donna, my ex-best friend and practical sister. If you're reading this, you devastated me. I'm not okay. I don't know that I'll ever be okay again. I invested time and money into both you and your daughter. I gave you both a home when your marriage was messed up and never charged you rent or asked for help with groceries or utilities. For over a year, you lived in our home and we paid your way, so you are wrong to treat me this way. My oxygen mask and possible need for a wheelchair should be the last thing on either of your minds, because what matters most is that I, feeling as bad as I normally do, was still going to put on my best dress, make myself look presentable, plant a smile on my face through my pain, and show up for you like I always have. But I never, ever will again. If people noticed me in your photos at all, it would have been because I had the biggest and most proud of anyone there, and they'd see the love I had for you radiating off the image. You will regret this one day when I'm gone and you realize that there are more important things in life than a perfect photo. Update. Friends rented a big cabin venue about 20 minutes from the wedding venue, and everyone who was offended over being asked to pay at the reception and babysit or serve the food. Yes, several people got invitations telling them they were invited, but would be serving food at the reception they paid to eat at, got together at the cabin, me included. I was on the fence about going because I really didn't want to sit there and talk about everything and rehash it, but that wasn't my experience at all. I had a truly lovely time. My husband and I even danced to our wedding song, and I had mixed drinks, quite a few, so forgive me if this has typos. LOL. Two of the bridesmaids opted out of the wedding over mistreatment and, without anyone knowing, they sent letters to all the guests who had been invited to tell them what went down with me and others being asked to babysit/be servers. Those guests were given the address of the cabin. They were the two bridesmaids who addressed all the envelopes and still had the guest list, from what they told me. Anyway, we had a great time. There were about 80 of us before all was said and done, though I didn't take a head count. It was packed. Several people went to the wedding but didn't attend the reception. They refused to pay for their meal, and came to our get-together instead, including the two bridesmaids who told me all about what I was being called in the story of how I was trying to ruin their wedding because I was jealous of their good health. The bridesmaids who backed out of the wedding due to bridezilla behavior were posting a ton of pics of all of us dancing and eating. We all chipped in $weeks ago for catering and booze, and was seen by my ex-bestie because she unblocked me. I unblocked her weeks ago in the hope that she'd come around, much as I'm loath to admit it, and called me to tell me off again. I told her I didn't plan the alternate reception but I was invited and came because they didn't care about my health or me ruining any photos, just me having a good time. Apparently, the wedding was ruined because of me. They had invited hundreds of people and the church wasn't even halfway full, and the reception had less than 30 people, so that's $3,000 the guests paid, when the food and liquor cost around $15,000 and it's my fault they're eating that cost now. They likened me to the Antichrist and the devil and claimed I had to be possessed to do this to a young girl and the groom, when he's a member of my family. I said, I didn't do anything. I told the truth, and if the truth hurts you then maybe you were wrong to do it. Did you consider that? She hung up on me and started calling others and demanding the address so they could come to the actual reception. No one gave it to her. I just got home at 11 p.m. It was a great day. I laughed. I even felt up to dancing a little. I had good news. I don't need my oxygen all the time now and just at night by a CPAP or after exercise, and I have been going to the pool and doing senior aquatics, as much as I can, and it's helped so much with my breathing and my mobility. I can walk around the whole grocery store now without needing to sit down on my walker. I still use the walker for long periods due to dizziness from Meniere's disease, but I think I'm doing better. At least, I'm trying. I feel very proud of myself, friends. Anyway, the wedding still happened but they didn't have the numbers they expected, and I've heard that someone suggested they donate the excess food instead of throwing it away, but they didn't. Which sucks because I just know that firemen, or police, or the hospital, or the homeless shelter would have been so happy to get it. I think I'm doing better mentally after today because everyone who talked to me told me it was wrong to exclude me because of my wheelchair or oxygen. I did have my walker with me today but not my wheelchair or an oxygen tube. I had it in my car just in case I needed it, and there were a couple of times I could have used it, but I was determined not to be in any pics with it out of pure spite. I also wore the pretty dress I bought for the wedding and had many compliments. I'm still hurt and angry and miss having that closeness with their family, but I'm going to be okay. And that's a wrap.